In the quantum crucible where realities are forged, there is an invisible code that structures our mental universe: common sense. But what happens when this code is hijacked by narratives that serve hidden interests? We speak of quantum colonialism, where certain frequencies of thought are imposed as absolute truths, weaving a veil over the infinite multiverse of possibilities. Imagine that each collective belief is a vibrant quantum field. The dominant sectors act as privileged observers, collapsing probability waves into narratives that sustain their power. Thus, their interests become black holes that attract and distort the light of social consciousness. Is common sense an organic consensus or an algorithm of control? How do media, education, and entertainment intertwine to program cultural holograms that we repeat without question? In this game of mirrors, our minds are Schrödinger spheres, sealed boxes where 1,000 possible truths coexist, until the system opens the lid and defines which version of reality exists. Your doubt is a rebellious photon that can break chains of mental programming. When you feel that something must be this way, ask yourself, who benefits if I accept this without exploring alternatives? In inner silence lie the hidden archives of the soul. There reside memories of when you were a free creator, not a reproducer of other people's patterns. What ancestral wisdom could you recover if you defragmented your mind from the imposed noise? Every time you share an idea that is not aligned with the dominant narrative, you trigger a quantum leap in the morphogenetic field. What new patterns would emerge if we collectively nurtured myths that celebrate diversity rather than control? What percentage of your deepest convictions are truly yours? How can we distinguish between the authentic voice of the soul and the echoes of discourses that have resonated in your cultural bones for centuries? If common sense were an operating system, what malicious code has infiltrated your mind under the guise of normal? Can a free society exist without first deconstructing the archetypes engraved in its collective unconscious? What tools do we need to reprogram cultural DNA without falling into new fundamentalisms? Is conscious rebellion a spiritual duty in our era? When you confront the narrative monopoly, are you fighting against external structures or liberating captive parts of your own being? True power lies in recognizing that every mental hegemony has fissures through which light filters. Imagine living libraries where each person contributes a different story to the grand human narrative. Compassionate algorithms that amplify marginalized voices instead of silencing them. Quantum education that teaches us to navigate between simultaneous truths without fear of sacred ambiguity. For 1 week, replace the phrase, "This has always been this way," with "what if?" Observe how your neural patterns expand as you inhabit the fertile territory of the possible. The monopoly of common sense is not a definitive prison, but a game of mirrors that invites us to remember our power as co-creators of reality. Every time you question an obvious truth, you activate particles of freedom that reverberate in the quantum field of collective consciousness. Will we be passive spectators of this cultural code? Or mystical hackers rewriting the script from the very core of the soul? The answer lies in the interstice between what you accept and what you dare to imagine. How can we break the monopoly of common sense and promote more inclusive perspectives? What current examples illustrate how common sense can be manipulated by dominant interests? How can we use quantum poetry to question social norms and promote spiritual growth? What storytelling techniques can help challenge common sense and foster a more critical mindset? How can we integrate quantum philosophy into the creation of content that inspires personal growth?